Hi everyone, so I'm just updating you on my AoE Gley build on the bossing side of this. So right now I have not changed a single crystal catalyst. The only thing that I have done, which makes a absolute massive difference here, is for the bossing side, I have moved Nimble Fingers over here since it only costs 12, and I put Maximize Conservation here. So this one's skill cost minus 35.4%, and then I put Outstanding Duration on instead of the range. And then I put on Stim Accelerant again to get the extra health. So the AoE aspect of this is still exactly the same. I will show you later, actually, though, some more optimized modules you could use because you can make it even better. If you wanted to push out more damage for this, I would remove either one of the R's or one of the C's. Those are the two that you could change if you want, and I would change those to an X. You still can use the extra range, and as long as there are adds alive in the interceptor fights, you can still do the healing thing. I'll show you that, but not being able to heal off of the structures, I decided to pursue this instead. So when you lower the skill cost on Gley, you actually reduce the amount of health that your abilities take from her. If your entire goal is to just nuke interceptors or whatever, just play Lepic, you know? What Gley is good at is sustain damage, sustain DPS, and just staying alive. I really stand by that you cannot do damage if you're dead. And with Gley, you lose out on a ridiculous amount of sustain damage if you do not have enough health left over to use your abilities. So when you added that skill cost mod to her, one, you need less total enemies to heal yourself. So in a boss fight, your starting moves that you're going to be doing are going to be go into Frenzy. You pop Massive Sanguification, and then you use your ultimate, and then you're going to be using your third for your infinite ammo, right? Well, with maximum conservation, so you could use it 22 times before you are unable to use it anymore, and you also have way more health. You're not draining your health, so you're not dying, and you could actually, you know, one, survive, but two, actually use your abilities. Without that skill cost mod that I put in there, you could only use her third 11 times after using it. Or you are completely out of health, by the way. So in reality, you're probably going to be able to use it like 9 times, and then you're going to need to go get health. So one of the easier ways to actually get health on Gley is that you leave Frenzy, and then you use your third here, and then when you beat an enemy, they are more likely to drop these red orbs that actually heal you. If you wanted to push out more damage with this build, what I would recommend doing is either remove an R or a C, but preferably a C. So you're going to lose quite a lot of health for doing this. So if I take this off, my health drops down around 7,000 health for that. And you could make this one an X, and then that would allow you to go ahead and bring back in Walk a Tightrope, Dangerous Ambush, or any of these other damaging technique mods. Or you could put on Medical Support, and then with the combination of HP heal and the skill range, you will be able to heal like 50% of your health off of just like 4 enemies. So the Interceptor, 3 of his adds, and you could just have your permanent sustain back. I haven't decided whether I'm willing to invest in throwing away that much health to bring my sustain back up that high. You can make the free healing a lot better again. So this is with just one range mod, and then that outgoing heal and take less damage mod on. So it's not as amazing as it was before, but this is just one group of adds that he has alive, and it does make the survivability still ridiculously good, and your heal is still really good. Obviously won't be as good when you have more players in the party and they're killing all of the adds, but it still can be really useful, as you can see. But you're just not going to be able to heal on objects if you are solo, or your teammates just aren't killing all these enemies. Also, with this much health and defense, as you can see, it's not that big of a deal, especially with the skill cost reduction. The majority of the damage that I am taking with this build, in terms of like my health and defense combined, is coming from myself. So the skill cost reduction fixes that a lot. And as you can see, I am still able to just do this if I want to keep the range portion of this build on. But yeah, the more adds you keep alive, the easier this gets. So using this build for solo, it still does have the ridiculous survivability. You can still kill off of the balls in the Obstructor fight, so those will still just basically guarantee that you get full health because there's so many of them. But you just kind of have to change the way you use this build a little bit. You can't heal on structures, so just keep these guys alive. They do nothing. The more of these guys there are, the easier this gets. So it is still completely fine to use it this way if you want to. As you can see, I'm still completely safe. You're probably in a multiplayer scenario not going to have the option to heal to this extent, but at least alone, you're good. And again, with this build, the way I have it set up, you really don't even need it to heal nearly as much as you used to if you set it up with the skill cost reduction. I actually kind of decided that the full annihilation set bonus down there wasn't really that great. The firearm attack plus 26% is really only happening when you're extremely low on HP. And I figured it's better to just put on mods that give me more HP and stuff. So right now I'm running a really good Annihilation 2 set for the duration. I have a Frozen Heart sensor because it just has a really good HP recovery modifier and HP. So on this second one, you're going to want HP recovery modifier. And then on the bottom one, I just have the Slayer processor on because I have gold equipment. Reactor for Colossus is still going to be cooldown, and then Colossus damage is your best bet. If you can't, it's going to be cooldown duration or cooldown and non-attribute or dimension attack up. And your reactor for your mobbing build, the best ones are going to be non-attribute damage or dimension damage and damage against enemy that you're fighting. Now for the mobbing build, if you wanted to get the absolute most amount of damage out of it, which is again why I said changing one of these C's to an X could be good, is that you could remove one of the cooldown mods in here and you could change it to one of the stronger mods. So the non-attribute one could turn into non-attribute specialist that does not give you cooldown, and that will work. Or you could switch it to dimension master. This one will also at maximum give you more damage than the non-attribute one. Or if you do switch to an X, skill simplification will give you the absolute most damage total for your ability here. But you would have to change one of these C's into an X, and then you would put multi-talented into one of these slots. And you could go ahead and put anything here like survivability or maybe slightly more damage or something if you wanted. Since honestly in the mobbing areas you don't need that much defense. I don't have the resources to test which one gives the exact most damage, but I do know those ones do end up doing more damage. But for the first ones that you make, when you have the resources, make sure it is focus on dimension, focus on non-attribute, because you could use those on both. But on the mob build, you can remove one of them for a higher damaging mod that does not have the cooldown. But skill simplification is definitely the strongest one, but it's an X, so fitting it into the build might be harder, unless you feel like you're comfortable having less health, which is why you could remove a C. So if you're going to change anything about this build, most likely C would be your best bet. So the mobbing aspect of this build has been buffed a lot. Now that Gley's damage is scaling all the way down, it actually has been a lot stronger. This gun now is the best in slot gun to use for this. Lucky enough to get a reactor for it right now, and you cannot target farm this reactor as of this week. But this gun, every time you use a dimension skill, you increase your non-attribute skill power. It only goes up to like 12%, but that still makes it the best in slot gun to use for this, for when you are mobbing. And I assume when you like max this out, it gets you a lot better as well. And since you don't really need that much health or defense or anything for this, the Slayer set in the mobs with a reactor that does damage to those mobs and has non-attribute damage or range or something on it is going to be your best bet. Skill cost on your reactor is terrible. It caps out at like 3%. It's literally nothing. One other extra little tidbit I like to add is if you throw Brisk Walk on your Thunder Cage, you could get added movement speed 15 seconds if you max this out. Again, I'm out of gold, so I can't, but it's on hit, not on gun hit, so every time you use your second ability, that counts. And for my mobbing and leveling build of this right now, since I decided I actually don't need all the defense and health, I'm not dying anyway, I put a lower spear and shield on, and I just threw this in here too for the extra 10% damage and just have the 1 stim accelerant. If I needed the extra defense, I could throw it on. Since this is mostly what I'm using for leveling and gaining XP and farming and stuff this year, I figure it's better to just have the extra damage since I'm not really dying out here anyway, and this allows me to one-hit everything a lot easier. So I still have the longest range AoE in the game. I am still extremely survivable. I can still kill on my E. This current setup, I have less health and less defense, but I don't need it if everything's dead, right? And yeah, that's pretty much it for the changes to the build. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. There is definitely room to make this put out more damage for the mobbing build to make sure that you could one-shot everything. But yeah, keep that in mind. Skill simplification, changing one of those modules to be not one of the cooldown ones, but one of the flat damage increase ones. Removing some of the health and defense for this side since you don't really need it. And also, if you can get a god roll lucky hand cannons reactor, but that's going to be really, really hard this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm currently maxing out a Smithereens, and I just finished maxing out the R4 launcher, so I'm going to try to make some videos showing those guns and whether they're actually worth upgrading or not later.